Okay, hi. So we're gonna jump right into this. Super important, and you guys just have to stick with me through this random conversation we're about to have. I was walking right now. I was walking around the block. My full intention was to record this much later, like at night, and I was power walking on my way to eat lunch, and I had this crazy thought in the middle of my walk. Like, I don't know how far away it was from the house, but I came all the way back so that I can talk to you. So listen, please, together. We got to get through this. I basically also had less than a cup of chocolate hemp milk, which is the equivalent of 5 coffees for a normal person. So I have this like energy like zooming through me. But yeah, super important. I need to tell you something. We need to we need to get through this, and it's organized in my head. I don't know how it's going to come out saying it out loud, but we're going to do this together. Okay. Do you feel guilty when you walk by a homeless person? Do you feel guilty when you're on the street or you're driving and you pull up to an intersection and someone has a sign, or they walk up to your car and they don't do anything, they just walk close to your car, they want money, they just, slowly walk by, make eye contact maybe, then continue going, and when you drive away? Do you feel guilty? Okay, I feel guilty. Other people, they don't call it guilt, but they'll like wiggle in their seat, or they'll feel uncomfortable, or they'll like look away, or they'll, try to fiddle with something or get on their phone. Basically everything except give them money or whatever they're asking for on the sign. Okay, just why? Why do I feel guilty? So, the thought that goes through my mind, or the feeling I have, because it's not even a conscious thing that I'm thinking, or whatever. It's just, I see them and I'm like, oh man. And I don't think of them as like, oh, dirty, get away. I just think of it as like, oh boy, I wish I didn't drive down this street. I wish they weren't here, actually. I wish I didn't see what I saw. Not mad. I'm not blaming them, but I just wish that I didn't see that. I wish, because now I don't feel good. Now I feel bad. And why that happens, why us people who feel that way when we see them, is because we are in our car, we're feeling good, we're listening to music, we have enough money for a car, gas, we're probably driving to work. And when we see someone like that, their faces are down, they look sad, they look like they have a hard life. Basically, in that moment, we are recognizing what we want to do is we want to help that person. So maybe not that individual, but in general, we would like poverty to go away. We want drug use to go away. We want homelessness to go away. Okay? That's what we're feeling and thinking. Like, if only that problem didn't exist, if only everyone could be as happy as me, that would be great. It's not fair, that I have this great life and they have to live the way they live. And me as an individual, I feel powerless to this. I feel like there's nothing I can do. Like, even if I gave him $1 or $5 or even 20, it's not going to stop his cycle of misery or the cycle of misery in society. And I've never in my life seen a solution to this, and this is terrible. And now I feel bad being happy. I feel bad driving by him and going back to my happy mood, because I'm living in a world where people have less than me, and it's not fair. Okay, do we get it? You, you, me, I feel guilty. We don't feel that it's right that we get to be happy when other people are not. Okay, hold that thought in your head. Should I tell you the story, or should I break it down? Okay, let me just break it down. I'll break it down real quick, and then you're probably going to be like, no. And then you're going to be quiet because you don't have a mic or a podcast, and I don't care about your comments up until this point. You're going to be quiet, and then I'm going to finish. giving you examples so that you can understand. You feeling bad for people. So you're feeling good, right? You're in general feeling good for the most part. And then you see someone feeling bad. You matching their feeling of feeling bad, feeling down, is not helping anyone. You feel good, they feel bad. You feel good, you feel bad about feeling good around these people, and you are the problem. You are not helping. Your pity, your guilt, your sympathy is not helping. Okay? If you wanted to help, you would be happy even if you're around people who are not happy. You would be happy with all the things that you have and all the things in your life and all the privileges you have, even if the person next to you is miserable for and wants the exact same things that you have. Okay? It's a hot day, you have shoes on, they have no shoes. You need to feel happy even around the person burning their feet with no shoes. Okay? They have a sign that says, I'm hungry, I need money for food. You are eating an In-N-Out burger or a burrito. I don't know. What do other people eat that are not from California? You are eating a gluten-free pumpkin scone and they have a sign that says they're hungry. You do not feel bad. You continue to eat your gluten-free organic pumpkin scone. You just do it. You do it in front of them. You do it without any shame. You need to just do that. Okay, let me explain now why. Because I know it doesn't make sense. I know it sounds intellectually lazy. I know it sounds stupid. I know that. I know what it sounds like. Okay, but you need to just listen to my example. Real life example. I am in elementary school. I grew up in a family that is nonsensical, okay? You know when you see like little Mexican families walking down the street, like a really chubby mom, and then she has like 4 kids and maybe one in the stroller, and then one of the kids is wearing like a quinceañera church dress and like sneakers, and you know, the mom just doesn't care. Like there's just one kid dressed crazy for no reason in the middle of the street. That's the type of family I grew up in. And the reason that it's like that is because in that culture, in my culture, in our culture, we don't really care about clothes like that. We don't really care about the image we put out in terms of the way we dress. So they might care about the image you put out in terms of spirituality or, you know, work ethic or family values or whatever. But clothes, not one of them. So basically it's like, do you like it? Was it a good price? Do you feel like wearing it now? All right, go ahead and put it on. Like, wear whatever you want. No one's going to say anything. No one asks you, what are you doing with that on today? No one comes into your room and is like, here, you're going to wear this. It's basically like, we're going to the store, put clothes on. Like, literally, put clothes on. Put your shoes on, put clothes on, and then you pick out whatever thing makes your heart sing in that moment. So that's the family I grew up in. I mean, again, my mom's side is like that. My dad's side is like girdles and pearls and perfume every day. But the thing is, when you are married in a family, usually the wife dictates the culture. And my mom's side won, and that's why when I left the house, I looked like a crazy person, and so did my brothers and sisters. I'm not saying when we went to school, I'm not saying like you're going to look at my yearbook and I'm wearing, you know, a plastic quinceañera dress all the time. Because, you know, when you go to school, you do your hair, you wash your face, you brush, you like perfectly matching outfit, you make sure you don't wear the same jeans 2 days in a row. But when we're at home, we're either wearing my dad's shirt that we stretched out, whatever socks are around mismatching can belong to whoever we feel like it belongs to, and probably the same, if we were even wearing bottoms, like the same sweats or shorts for 4 days in a row. Like that's just how it was in my family when I was young. So anyways, we're at the grocery store. Chances are, because I can't remember the exact thing I'm wearing or what I look like, chances are my hair is messy, I most likely did not take a shower. If it's the weekend, I'll probably not take a shower. And I'm probably wearing something wrinkled that doesn't match because I probably just pulled it out of the clean hamper, not folded or anything, and then put it on to go to the grocery store. So why did I want to go to the grocery store? Why does any kid want to go to the grocery store with their parents? Because they want to be able to choose the snacks. They want to be able to make sure that your parents at least get one piece of candy or one box of fruit snacks or popsicles or ice cream or whatever. So the entire trip that I'm with my dad, who normally doesn't grocery shop, whenever we go out there with my dad, it's usually because we're going to get something quick to eat, fast food or whatever, and then go on to the next destination. My mom would most likely do the grocery shopping, or they do it together. But in this case, we're just with my dad, which means he probably went out to buy beer or a drink or chips or something so that he can watch the game, and then he brought us with him because we cried and begged to come. So now that we've cried to beg to come, the entire time we're in the grocery store, we're patiently watching him get what he wants, and then we're saying, hey, how about this? How about this? How about this? How about this? Like, we know what aisle we're getting to. I know I'm getting to the ice cream aisle. I know as soon as I get there, I'm going to ask for popsicles. And if I don't get the popsicles, I'm going to go to the juice aisle and ask for this. And if I don't get that, I'm going to go to the candy aisle and ask for this. So after however long of doing that, we're finally in the checkout, and I haven't gotten the candy yet. I came here for candy. I haven't gotten it yet. I'm on the last stretch, and right by the checkout area, there's always like that candy, like the regular candy, not the bulk size, just like the single serving candy. And I'm like, all right, I'm losing my mind now, because I thought he was gonna break. He's not breaking. He's definitely not in a good mood. He hasn't been yelling, but he's definitely not in a good mood. And I haven't cracked him yet. And this is it. There's only one other person in front of us, and I need this candy. So I ask him, hey, can we have this candy? Like, come on. And he's ignoring me, and I'm like, come on, can I have one of these? Can we just have one and we split it? Can we just... And then finally he's just like, I don't have money for that. And as soon as he said, I don't have money for that, I don't have money for no candy, because that's how my dad talks. He doesn't say, oh no, sweetie, maybe next time. It's just, my dad is like, he's from the South. He's been a coach, football and basketball, for billions of years. This is how he talks to anybody. And as soon as he said that, I didn't even have a chance to react. I didn't have a chance to, say, come on, you already got me this or whatever. No, I didn't. Nothing came out of my mouth, because what happened was this woman who was probably late 20s, early 30s, she looked young and middle class and suburban, and she was with her fiance or husband or whatever, gasped. She just, and she gasped, and then she whispered to her husband, did you hear that? They don't have any money. And this happened when I was in elementary school, okay? I still remember that story, because I was so angry. I was so angry at this woman's ignorance. I was so mad. I was like, I can't even describe the type of rage that I had. Like, as a child, hearing what she said in that moment, and it was basically just thinking, like, how dare you, like, are you so stupid? Are you a stupid, ignorant lady? Like, why would you, you see a black family and you just assume that the dad won't get them, like, candy because we're poor. Like, look at all the stuff on the conveyor belt already, and like, just, yeah, so much anger. Like, even now I don't have the words to explain the level of disgust, and probably, it's also embarrassment and shame. Not shame, because I don't feel that way about myself, but just embarrassment that somebody would, think of you as poor. Okay, so that's what happened. She gasped. She whispered to her husband, did you hear that? They don't have any money. I mean, loud enough for me to hear, so I don't know who else heard it. But like, no, I didn't think anyone else thought that. I didn't look around the store to see who else was gasping. And, my dad had said that to us 1,000,000 times, and no one has ever reacted like that. So in my mind, I'm thinking, it's just you. You are so stupid to, okay, all right, where am I going with this? What is the point? Her reaction to us, to the perceived situation, is that she has money and she has more money than us. How does she know? Because she can afford a piece of candy. She can afford whatever we have on the conveyor belt plus a piece of candy. So that's how she knows that she has more money than us. And her feeling towards us is that she feels bad for us. She feels sorry for us. It's not that she connects with me as a child and she remembers what it must feel like as a child to have no type of disposable income where you can't even make any decisions about something that costs less than $1. You know, it's not about that. It's not about connecting over, oh man, parents are tough. It was not about that at all. She, in her mind, believed that we were in a lower position than her in society or financially or whatever income level, and she feels bad for us. And because she feels bad for us, what she's making me do is feel bad about myself. Well, one, felt mad because I felt, judged and embarrassed. Two, oh, why is she listening to us? Yeah. And then, she's making me feel as though I'm less than. That was the feeling that was the dynamic that was going on there. She feels bad because she feels more than us, and now I feel bad because she's making me feel less than. She's highlighting that I'm less than. So even though I'm not actually less than, and what I mean by that is she can't tell by looking, but my parents, even before they were 30, I think, had already had owned two properties. So one of them was a condo in a big city, which we lived in because it's close to their work, and then another one was an entire house on 11 acres of property. So by any means, if somebody saw that, no one would think, oh, you're poor. It's just that she doesn't know all that information. She's just looking at the way we're dressed and that we're black, most likely, and that my father has said, I don't have money for that, which she didn't take to be as a disciplinary action. That's what it is. So anyways, what's my point? My point is, she, lowering her feelings to match ours, did not do anything for us. It enraged me. I don't know who else in my family heard it, but that is the same thing that happens when, say, you are trying to help someone and you think you're helping them by pitying them, by feeling as bad. So maybe you don't start to feel poor, you don't give away your possessions, but you think that they feel bad, and so you feel bad for, and you feel good when you have the things that you have. So in order to match the way they feel, you use pity or you use guilt. This is not sounding as good out loud as it did in my head, but we're going to continue because I'm pretty sure I can clear this up. Okay. When you instead, that was an example of you're not holding your positive vibes, not holding your positive feelings around someone that you feel is less than you. Okay? And it doesn't work. It just makes the other party feel enraged or judged or bad and shameful, and they might not have even felt that way to begin with. Okay? So I'll give you, and this happens not just on an individual level, but it happens in society too. Join a nonprofit group, any of them. It's like seriously, literally any nonprofit group. It's going to be mostly either white people or privileged people in terms of their income or just whatever. It's always going to be someone who feels strongly for another group of people, and the way that they feel about that group of people is that they have more than them. So what I mean by that is, let's say you're in a nonprofit, and maybe not a lot of people in that nonprofit are struggling financially, but they're all educated. They're going to want to help groups of people who they think are behind. So they're going to see, let's say you get like a educated white a nonprofit filled with educated white people, or just educated people in general. They don't have to be white. They can just be, they can also be Asian or whatever. And then they go into an impoverished Latino community, and they chose that community because they have all these stats. Oh, they go to jail, they're not going to college, they're not working, they're not represented in corporate America enough. We're going to go in there and then we're going to fix the problem. And you're like, okay, fix the problem. What is their problem? And if you talk to them, they don't ask the community what their problem is. They don't. They have a forum with pointed questions, and the questions are always like, do you eat enough vegetables? Okay. Or how many servings of vegetables do you get a day? How far away is your grocery store? How often do you buy vegetables? Do you buy these snacks? And it'll be like soda and chips or whatever. Then they'll take that survey, and then the group will determine, oh my God, they do not have access to the foods that I eat. There is not a Whole Foods for miles of them, and they are stuck drinking soda because soda is much cheaper than kombucha, and they are, oh my God, their lives, they will not improve their lives because of this. They're so fat. Oh, they are so fat. Their children are fat. Oh my God. I am skinny and I have abs. And I'm very good at yoga, and they are fat. And this is not fair. It's not. So if you look at that, what are you using? You're using all the measuring sticks that society gave you, or that your parents gave you, or that the typical measuring stick that are used on college campuses, and you're applying it to these people, and you're projecting onto these people that they are not happy, they're not good, because they don't have these things that you have. And maybe it is true. Maybe when you get around them, they're not happy, they're sad, or they're not feeling empowered or whatever. But again, you seeing them not happy, struggling for whatever reason, maybe they look tired and stressed, maybe they said I'm tired and stressed, and then you coming and saying, oh my gosh, I feel so bad that they're tired and stressed, because I'm not tired and stressed, and the reason I'm not tired and stressed is because I have these X, Y, and Z things. I need to make sure they have those X, Y, and Z things. So what you do is, as an organization, you go into their community with a smile and a clipboard, and you say, oh, I want to give everyone here the opportunity to be like me. And you're not saying that, but that's what people feel. So someone is saying, oh, I'm so tired and my life is hard, and you're like, I know, you have not had an acai bowl. I can tell. I know. I see that in your life. You're not even wearing Birkenstocks. Like, of course you're tired and stressed. So you keep doing that, and you keep doing it without saying it. You're not saying, be like me. You're not saying I have more than you, but you're just assuming you have more than them, and the more that you think you have is whatever you value that they're missing. Okay? So you keep doing that long enough, and the person is of course not going to gravitate toward that type of help. So what's going to happen is you're going to set up a system where they can have all the fresh fruit they want. You collected all this fresh fruit, and you're going to make sure they get this fresh fruit, and it's going to be close to them and at a good price, because your survey says that they don't live close enough to a Whole Foods to get fresh fruit, and they're going to show up, and the fruit you have is going to look terrible, because I don't know how you'd get free fruit unless how would you get free fruit? Think about it. You'd either get discounted fruit from a normal grocery store, or you'd go pick it or whatever, but it'd just be not the same. It's not polished, it's not clean. It's probably in plastic bins or whatever. And so those people are going to see that, and they're going to be like, no, that's okay. I'll just eat Doritos. Like, I'd rather eat Doritos from a branded plastic sanitary thing than dig through your rotten fruit crates and have to do it at the time that you allocated for me to do it, because you think it's important that I have more fruit in my diet. And if that person feels low or whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean that they equate their lowness to what you equate it to. So they're not going to think, oh, this fresh fruit is going to help me. What they're going to see is, wow, this weird community group is really forcing this fruit down my throat. I'm not sure that I want it. I don't know what they're doing here. They seem nice, but it's not resonating with me. And I'm just going to go ahead and start to ignore them or their efforts. So then you do that long enough, and you, in all your heart, you are going to think, oh my gosh, I'm trying to save this community. I'm trying to save these people, and they are not accepting my help. You know what? I'm starting to think they want to be like this. I'm starting to think the reason they are even poor is because it's their own fault. Like, even if you give them everything in the world, they just want to stay poor. And that's your new attitude. And their attitude is now, these crazy rich people keep coming in here and forcing my kids and me to live this life that we don't want to live. Like, what the heck? They're not nice. They're pushy. I don't know what they're getting out of it, but it's scary the way that they're so aggressive about their efforts. And now you went from, oh my gosh, I feel bad and sorry for these people, and these people thinking maybe nothing about you, to a group of people who disdain you, who are absolutely resistant to you. And you went from being pitying them to feeling guilty to now being really arrogant about your worldview or your view of them. Does that make sense? It doesn't work like that. You cannot start off feeling sorry for people or lowering yourself, lowering your own feelings to help people, because it doesn't work. It's always the same cycle. I have not seen the cycle break, and I know that because I'm in my own body, in my own experience, I've seen it. It doesn't work like that. Okay, it doesn't work like that. So what does work? Be your happy, privileged self around everyone. Be your happily privileged self around other people who are privileged, and be it around people who don't have your privileges. So whatever your privileges are, you have 5 yachts or you have 2 legs, maximize your happiness around it. Or if you're already happy about that, cool, just stay happy, and then go out into the world and you will already be fixing problems. Okay? It doesn't seem like that, but that is exactly how it works. Okay? If you are a beautiful, in shape woman who runs around town in Lululemon all day because you don't have to work 40 hours a week, and you want to save the planet, and also you're in excellent shape, do that. You know? And then if you see a woman next to you who has like 7 kids and she's overweight and she looks tired and she's sitting on the bench at the corner and you're both waiting, she's waiting for her bus and you're waiting for the light to change, instead of feeling guilty and so avoiding eye contact with her, or feeling bad and not wanting to, rub your wonderful physique and your new Lululemon clothes in her face, how about you just turn to her and be like, hey, how's it going? Good, nice day, isn't it? Just stay your chipper, happy self. And then she is gonna, oh, well, okay, yeah, I don't have anyone to talk to. I'll say hi to, maybe you guys see each other continuously. Maybe now every time you see her, you say hi. And then one day she's always, she's asking you, like, where are you always going? And you're like, oh, I prefer to run and get my lunch, because I used to walk and get my lunch, and eventually I got so in shape that I run and get my lunch. And I like it because I get to work out and the sun is nice and I get a nice tan, and also I get to be on my own schedule, And then the lady who's not resistant to you, because there's no weird friction, there's no weird I feel sorry for you vibe going on. The lady's going to think, oh, wow, that's kind of smart, In the time that it takes her to run from her house and back, I could, I usually have to first even walk to the bus stop, so that's wasting my time. Walking is slow. And then I get to the bus stop, I have to wait for the bus. Sometimes it's late, sometimes it's full. Or, I have to do it on a schedule. And I think I waste more time than her, and she's doing it for free, and I have to pay for my bus pass, Then she'll start to think, oh, maybe it's a good idea. Maybe I should just try walking. I don't really want to walk, it takes too long. Maybe I'll try biking. And now she has this little inspiration to try something new because she met a nice lady who has a different lifestyle than her. And she wasn't shoving it down her throat, and she wasn't telling the lady on the, at the bus stop that her way is better. She was letting the lady at the bus stop draw her own conclusions. I'm a little bit down. She's always peppy. I wonder where the pep is coming from. What part of her lifestyle can I adopt to get a little more pep? Because I don't really like waiting for the bus or being a slave to this bus schedule. And then she herself makes her own decision to make a little positive change. And again, it's not positive because it's better, or it's not positive because it's closer to your ideal. What's positive about it is that she's clearly, the lady sitting is a little bit down, and she can feel that in herself. I mean, anybody who walks by her can kind of feel it, even if she's not consciously aware of it. So in her own body, there's this downness. And now she has kind of another option. And the option doesn't mean her life is going to change overnight. It's just that now she's curious about making a different type of choice, and that different type of choice might lead to other different kind of choices. And, eventually it could be something that gives her a privilege. And that privilege could make her feel better, a little bit better in general in her life. Okay? So again, if that Lululemon lady had come and said, what's better than waiting for a bus? Why don't you try getting up and walking? Why don't you run around? That's what's wrong with the world today. Or even if she said it, even if that lady, the Lululemon lady, didn't even do that. Even if what she did was lower her feelings to match the lady there. If she pretended to be fake modest, like, oh, me, I run because, gas is so expensive all these days, and and I don't want to bother, I can't find parking when I move my car, so I'd rather just run, parking sucks around here. If she was fake modest, instead of really saying, that she enjoys running, what she would have gave that lady at the bus stop is an excuse to feel good about the fact that she doesn't have to deal with parking or gas because she takes the bus. And then it might make her feel a little bit better in that moment, but really it's not going to help her change. No, she's not going to make any changes in her life. She's not going to consider new avenues of working in her life. She's going to have more excuses for staying the way that she is. Does that make sense? And also, too, if you tell the lady, oh, yeah, you need to work out like me, she's going to be resistant to it, And that might not even be the change that she needs. She might need to think there must be a better way to get to the grocery store than what I'm doing because I don't really like it. And you can see on her face that she doesn't like it and she's always frustrated or she's complaining or chasing buses. She might come to the conclusion that maybe they start a carpool in her neighborhood, and maybe starting a carpool in her neighborhood gives the older woman there something to do, and it lowers the gas for, the money that she spent on the bus can go to this woman, and now that's helping with her, that other lady's household, and just a domino effect. That's all I'm saying, okay? This is what I'm saying. You don't know what you need to do to make another person feel better, but lowering yourself or feeling guilty about being happy is not it. That's not going to do it. It's not going to do it now. It hasn't worked in the past. It didn't work when there was missionaries. It doesn't work with nonprofit groups. It definitely doesn't work with those organized religion groups that come knocking on your door trying to change your life. It just doesn't work. Don't come at people without being yourself, without being your happy self. Don't change how good and happy you feel because people around you look or seem miserable. Just be yourself in every situation with every type of person that you meet. Does that make sense? It's not even that I want you guys to save the planet or the world or whatever. My point is just that I don't want you to feel, I don't think we should have to feel guilty. I don't think it serves anyone to feel guilty when you move around your life and you see things that aren't right, quote unquote. What does that sound like? I don't even know. I'm pretty sure it sounded crazy and angry and jumbled, but when I thought of it, when it came to me, I was like, "Oh my God, this is major key. This is important. This is it. This is this is a revelation. I need to share it." And so I did. That's what happened here. I had a revelation. You probably don't care. I care, and and since I'm happy about this, and I have a podcast and a mic and a recorder and editing and whatever, I'm gonna put it online because that's what I want to do. Okay, and it's gonna have a domino effect in some way or another, and if it doesn't, that's fine. Okay, I'm gonna live my life, you live yours. I mean, we both live our lives and you live yours in a great happy way. That's what I'm wishing on you, not the opposite. Yeah, I think that's it for now. 35 minutes. How does that keep happening? Oh my. Okay, I'll probably be back on this episode with another topic later, or should I jump to the other topic? I feel like I'm sweating, I'm hot. Just came from that walk, and then I'm trying not to sit in front of the fan so that the sound is good for you guys, even though there's like buses and stuff outside. But I also don't want to miss too much of the daylight. It's like disappearing. In Hawaii, the sun is gone at like 5 or 6 or something year round. There's no daylight savings. And so I always feel weird and guilty when I'm inside the house all day, and then I stay up really late at night, and then it's mostly no sunshine, and I don't really feel like walking around outside, at night. Because, women walk around outside at night, they're like, I have my pepper spray, my knife, and my rape whistle, and blah, blah. Like, the way I walk around outside at 4 in the morning is, like, booty shorts and headphones. And it's just, easy target. And I don't want to do it any other way. Like, I don't want to be hyper vigilant. I just want to walk around in my pajamas and zone out and look at trees and cracks on the floor and the mountains. So I'm in this moment, I'm trying to decide, should I continue talking about other topics, or should I pause, do it at night, and see what happens? But I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and transition into the next topic, and it has nothing to do with what we originally talked about, and that's fine. I don't care if you don't care. I mean, even if you care, I don't care. We're not doing that. So anyways, the thing I wanted to talk about has nothing to do with anything except that if you notice, the title of my podcast is Voce, which is the Italian word for voice, which means I speak Italian. And why do I speak Italian? Because I live there. And what I want to say about Italy is that people who go to Italy and work there always say Italians are lazy. And they are not lazy. And I need people to know that. And I don't know why it's important that they know that, except for that. Actually, okay, let me start again. The misconception people have about Italians is that they're lazy. Why do they think that? Why do they think that there's this dolce vita where people lounge around all day and they care about family more than work, and they celebrate after work? Everyone always goes out to eat and drink, and they have a lot of leisure time. And yeah, some of it is culture. Like, they do value that. I'm not saying that they don't value that, but what I'm saying is they don't really have a choice except to value that, because they don't have a lot of disposable income. And the reason they don't have a lot of disposable income is because they have this socialist, oh man, it's a hot word. They have the way that their employment system is set up is so that everyone, regardless of your degrees, pretty much earns the same amount of money. And the amount of money that they earn after they pay all these taxes, even if you're a resident, you pay a little bit less taxes, but after you pay all these taxes, ends up being about the same. And that is anywhere, if you're full-time, from 12 to 1,500 a month, euros. And if you are working part-time, it could be as low as 400 a month, okay? So if you were making that much money, do you think that you are going to be out traveling the world, or, doing all these crazy activities that Americans do? It seems like, oh, I'm going to go skydiving this weekend, and I'm going to build a boat and go sailing now. No, you're not, because that money is not a lot, and you don't spend, all of your hard-earned money wasting it on things when you can just go to an aperitivo at night, get a drink. You pay €10, you get a drink, and you get unlimited food for like snacks for 2 hours, and you chill with your friends. That's way easier than trying to get a bunch of your friends together who are barely making enough money to feed themselves to take a road trip with you to, like, I don't know, the next country over. Okay, you're not going to do that. You're going to start to think about simple happy joys because you don't have a choice. Okay, so do I blame Italian people? No, I do not. Do I think that they are delusional about their life? No, I do not, because when you talk to them, they are equally as whiny and miserable because they do see how other people live. That's why when American girls come over and they are drunk all the time and have like throwaway clothes and they're like, oh, I've been to like 5 regions and like, oh my gosh, I stay in this like really nice apartment. Like it does make them resentful, makes other Italian people resentful because they're like, how are you 18 and living like the director of my company? Like, it's annoying and they don't want to see it. And I'm saying if they didn't ever saw that, they would be 100% happy. But when you go to cities like Florence and people say, oh, Florence is not a real city where it's overrun with tourists and visitors. Yeah, it is. But you know what the other reason that people don't like it is because when they go there and they see the way other young, super young people get to live, and they're basically living the way that a retired Italian person lives, it drives them crazy. They don't understand where that money come from and how they got it and why it seems so easy for them. And they start to wonder, are they seeing only one type of American? Like, are they just everyone like that? Or is it only super rich, spoiled girls coming there like that? And I say girls because it mostly is girls that come from the US and Canada and stuff. Because it's like a romanticized city. And it is really pretty and romantic and whatever. But yeah, it tends to be mostly women. But yeah, I remember that those were the gripes that people had. And here's the thing. They cannot imagine another way of living. And I don't mean that they're dolce vita, happy life. I'm talking about they cannot imagine another system of making money. And basically their system of making money is this, okay? And I'm telling you, as someone who went there with zero impression, like I had no idea. I didn't research or study anything about Italy. I didn't speak the language. I got there day one. I didn't even know if ciao was Italian or not. I started learning the language. After I learned language, I took an internship. After I took an internship, I took another one. So I took a low-level internship. I said low-level. Oh, I took an entry-level internship, which you're like, internships are all entry-level. But what I mean is, I had an internship for an entry-level position for like 10 days. Then I cussed out the program that I was part of because I was paying money, and I'm not going to pay money for an experience I've already had in English. And then after that, I had an internship under one of the top management people and had access to the director and things like that. And then I left, came back, went to school there. Okay, so now I'm seeing what school life is like there. And I don't mean school like college or, just study abroad. I went to an Italian university and got an MBA there. And then after that, I worked there and I held a substantial position for a startup. Okay, so that's 3 years total, 3 different cities and regions of the country. And what I noticed was that if you look at the way the system is set up for laziness. I mean, there are zero motivating, intrinsic or otherwise, there's zero motivating factors for trying hard or working harder. First of all, I'm not going to say first. One of the things that encourages laziness, quote unquote, is that when you get hired, you get, it's just a given that you are going to work overtime. And there's no such thing as overtime in terms of pay. So what I learned during one of my interviews, and I knew this was true before I interviewed, but just to mess with them, I just pretended that I didn't know. So she was like, are you comfortable working overtime? And the company that I was interviewing with was an internationally known company. So it would probably have like a North American division, an Asian division, a European division. And so I know that they know that it's different for every region. And I know they know what I expect. And so that's why this question came up, because they knew I was American. And they were like, are you okay with working overtime? And I laughed and I said, yeah, of course. Overtime has great pay. And I knew that in Italy, they expect you to work as long as they need you to work, but they're not going to pay you more, and they're not going to pay you past whatever the agreed upon monthly, payment is. And so, yeah, she was explaining that, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh my goodness. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, I guess, I can be a team player, I just said that because I was mad. Not mad that she brought it up, but just mad that that is a thing that existed. So I just wanted them to have to say that ridiculous thing to me. And then I wanted them to see that, yeah, actually sounds really terrible and hard, but, when in Rome, ha ha ha. And actually, it was Florence, but, that's what I was saying at that time. That's what I wanted them to feel. So yeah, if someone says, I'm only going to pay you $900 a month, okay? I'm only going to pay you $900 a month, and you can work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but when you come to work, you aren't going to leave until I'm done with you. Yeah, it's not going to make you... Why would... I mean, that's your option, right? You don't have any other option, but it's not going to make you fall in love with work. It's going to be like, wow, I need a job, but having a job sucks, because once they have you, like, because they pay you money, they're basically like, no lunch today. And they don't really do that, but it's kind of like, you're going to go to work and you're not going to know when you're going to get off. And you can't do anything about that. You can't argue. You can't, it's a non-negotiable. Okay. So that's number one. And even if you work full time, it's the same thing, where they do that, and then they all pretend that it doesn't bother them. So when you're at work, people are like wiggling in their seats, stretching their back, like they know they want to get up, they know they want to stand up, they know that's way too long to be sitting down at a desk, but they don't want to be the person who complains, because it's just an accepted reality. And the boss, of course, will get super mad if you run away from your job. And the thing that they throw at you is that you're lazy. You're like, you're not lazy. You have to work these crazy hours for just little same pay, with, and you don't, it's not comfortable for any human being. But the thing that they throw at you is the word, you are lazy. Say pigra, say pigro. That's the word for lazy. And you don't want that reputation, because you're not. It would hurt that if you were working that hard, everybody thinks you're lazy, and your boss thinks you're lazy, and you're not. You're just a human, and you need to stand up and move around every so often, And what do they do to counteract that? They smoke. You can take smoke breaks in Italy. Everyone smokes. So yeah, if I was a smoker and I knew that I needed to smoke every 2 hours, that would be the perfect way to take a break without looking lazy. Because everyone knows in that country, a lot of people know what that itch is. Like, oh, you need to smoke. Yeah, we understand. Go ahead and smoke. Where are they right now? Why aren't they in the meeting? Oh, they have to go smoke. Oh, okay. Well, let's all go take a smoke break. Oh, that's a good reason to stand up and move around. Yeah. Okay, and that absolutely does happen. I remember I met this guy. He was American from New York. Joe Bastianich, whatever. His family was like restaurant, like they were famous in the restaurant industry, and then he was famous by default. Nah, I'm not going to say that. He is famous as a business person in the industry, but he doesn't really have like the culinary skills or whatever of his parents. He was complaining. He was saying that, oh my gosh, Italians take so many smoke breaks. It's unbelievable. It's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, that's the only way they can get a break, because they have to work long hours and they have to not ruin their reputation. So what they do is say, I'm going for a smoke, which really means I'm dying on the inside and I need a break. I can totally understand that, okay? The other thing that's a problem is that they have these contracts. So originally they all had the same type of employment that like Asian countries have, or East Asian countries have, where it's like we hire you and it's almost indefinite. I think it's called indeterminato, undetermined in Italy, or it's the opposite where it is determined, but it basically means that we hire you forever and you are safe and you can work here for a long time and you don't have to worry about your bills and things being paid, because this is your new home and this is where you're going to invest your professional career. They really stopped giving those out, because when you give people, I think it's called contratto progetto, so contract by project, which is kind of similar to what an independent contractor type of deal would be like in the US, where it's like, oh, we're going to have you until this project is done and it's 6 months. But really, it just kind of rolls over and you stay there. And the difference between that and a full-time contract or an undetermined time contract would be the taxes that you pay as an employer. So yeah, do people try to get around paying their taxes, their business taxes? Absolutely, and that's how they do it. Or also too, like let's say that they don't have a lot of money to keep someone around for a lot of like a big salary, so they'll just be like, okay, here's your first 6 months, and then maybe we'll raise it a little more every time that we renew this contract. Which it doesn't really happen like that, but that's just the logic they use. Like, oh, we have to see if you're a good fit, or oh, let's try you out at this rate and then it'll go up. Like, yeah, that's not really what's happening. That's just a legal excuse that they're giving. Really what's happening is that one of the contracts requires benefits and more taxes and things like that, and the other one, it just requires that you pay them and then pay your taxes too. I mean, I'm talking from the employer standpoint. So then now a lot of young people, they get to work and their parents had the other one. It's kind of similar to the US, and they have this new contract where it's by project, or basically like 6 months or 9 months or 1 year, and they don't feel financially secure, obviously, and also they're getting paid less and they have less benefits or whatever. So again, now their disposable income is small, and not only that they're nervous. They're always nervous about whether or not they're going to be kept. And if you're nervous about being kept and you're making all your decisions about how you operate based on fear, you're always going to try to make the boss happy. How do you make them happy? You do not complain about your hours. You don't complain about your treatment. You don't complain about your hours. You don't complain about the work that you do. You don't complain about the fact that you need help and maybe you should hire more people. You don't complain about being overwhelmed. You just keep working. Are you going to care about work if that's what work life is like? No, you're not. You're going to escape. What is an escape? Drink wine, smoke cigarettes, hang out with your friends. Duh. Like, people not understanding, it's not just that they love their friends and family so much. They don't have another area in their life where they can get joy. So they have to compensate with what they got, and what you got is what you were born with, and that is your family and your friends. And that is totally fine to love your family and friends, but it's really upsetting when you do have a passion. You are a graphic designer, you are a writer, you do have a cool app idea, but you cannot either bring up the capital to make it happen, or you don't have the freedom at work to make it happen. Okay? Yeah, you're going to have to focus on something else. Another thing, we're talking about capital right now. Technically, in that country, are you allowed to start your own business? Yes, you are. There's nothing wrong with it. Do they have funding for that? Of course, they have these things called bondos. Kind of like a government grant. Okay, cool. We know that for an entrepreneur to start a company, or for startup culture in general, what you need is you need to be around people. You have a pool of skilled capital, human capital, skilled people. So like if you're going to start a tech company, you're going to need a business-minded person. You're going to need a charismatic face, and you're going to need the technical people to execute that. Okay? If you want to start a newspaper, you're going to need people who are good with editors or editing. You're going to need the writers who are skilled and educated, and you're going to need the person who understands business development. Okay, does Italy have that? No, not then the tech side, not so much. They do a little bit, but not really. Do they have artisans? Do they have highly technically skilled people? Yeah, because fashion and crafts are, it's still revered there. It's still a respectable thing. So you would find someone who studied art, and because they studied art, would be very technically skilled at graphic design. And so, that graphic design person could benefit your website or app or whatever. So it's not that that doesn't exist at all, but it's not the same as Silicon Valley, for example. Oh, another example. They don't teach business in school. They teach only the classic what are they called? The more classic disciplines. So it'd be like you study history, or you study writing, or you study engineering, or you study science, or you study economics. But you wouldn't study business, which if you're on the outside, it seems like, no, economics, business, same thing. But when you study business, you get things like marketing skills, the psychology behind it, the practical execution for business management for small businesses or corporate, and you wouldn't get that in economics, because in economics they study things, even if it's microeconomics, they still study things as movements in waves, measurable movements in waves in societies, and then like microcosm would be in a business, and then in the macrocosm it would be between countries and things like that. So they don't really have business people unless you grew up with the family business or whatever. You got introduced to it because you're rich, and then your family knows other Americans, and then those Americans taught you business, and yeah. So anyways, yeah, so to start a business, you need pass little order thing. You'd need talent pool, and then you'd also need funding. Okay, do they have funding? They have bondos. Okay, but the thing about those bondos, and I know from experience, is that even though they're open to the public and there's not a lot of restrictions on who can apply, the process of applying basically weeds out 90% of anyone applying. So back here, you can apply for a small business loan, or you can go to a bank and do that, but their banks in Italy are very, 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 very risk adverse. Not just in Italy, also like in Korea and other countries, super risk adverse. So in their mind, they're like, why would I give you a business loan? Like, I don't know who you are. I'm not going to give anyone a business loan, except if you're super established. And if you're super established, you might not even need a loan, because you just get funding from other rich people. So it's just not a common practice to go to the bank and do that. They'd be like, are you crazy? Like, I cannot give you a loan. It's incredibly hard to get that. And even when you talk to the bank and you reason with them, the reason I was like, no, it's too risky. Like, you don't have any clients. I don't know who you are. Like, no. Because their fear is, if I give you a loan and you fail, and then you just come back and ask for another one, then you're going to keep failing, and other people are going to start asking, and they're going to fail, and we don't have the money for that. We don't have the reserves for that. They don't do high risk loans. And in their mind, small business is high risk. And yeah, technically it is, but in the US, because we just favor small businesses a lot, that it's okay. Like, it happens. They're okay with that. They have small business accounts set up and things like that. They encourage it. They want small businesses to do business with them, and they have a lot of different resources in the US to help you finance or navigate that. Like, if you go to any bank, even a small bank, like one of the banks that I bank with is like a teeny tiny neighborhood bank, and I barely had started or whatever, and I look young, and they were super supportive and helpful, and like, oh yeah, this happens, and don't worry about this until this much, and blah 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 blah. Like, they don't look at you like you're a scary like leech gonna suck their reserves. They're just like, oh yeah, small business account, we have a whole department for that, how can we help you, and it was great. Not like that in Italy. Not when you go to banks. And then when you go to these government places where you can apply for bondos, do they have informational meetings for you? Yeah, they do. Do they have online resources for you? Yeah, you do. But when you're filling out the information, when you're filling out the application, it's so complicated that it's like, you can't even get through it. Like, there's no way they're going to choose you. And at first I thought I was crazy, because I was doing all the things that I would have done back home. I was like going to all these informational sessions and like looking it up online, and like, so many eyes were on it. And I was doing, it was like a team of us doing it, but I was the one who spoke Italian, so I'd be going to the meetings. And I was like, wow, this is really hard. How can we do it? What other things do we need to make? Like presentations for it, and like essays for it, and business plan, and blah, blah, blah. And I was working with other MBA students. I was like, I can't imagine how someone who doesn't know anything about business would be knocking out, business plans or whatever. Oh, and they make you attach resumes for everyone involved and everything like that. So yeah, I was like, how can just a regular person do this? And then what I found out later was that the people who get the money, they are already connected. And what they do is there's a special group of people that you hire to do these things for you. So like if you're in a nonprofit, it's like you'd have a designated grant writer, and this grant writer that's what they do. They study this, and they have a team of people who help them write grants. That was what this was like. There is a special organization and group that other successful businesses already know that you pay money to, and their entire job is just to make sure that you get this money. And it's expensive, and it's not easy to, you don't just like, it's not, you can't just Google them and find them. It's just like you already know people who've done it successfully, and they put you in that direction, and that's how you get it done. So again, if you're an 18-year-old content creator, are you going to have access to that? No, you're not. If you're older and you don't use the internet anymore, and you studied art history your whole life, are you going to be able to knock out a business plan and take advantage of that money? No, you are not. It is very difficult to access the tools they give people to be entrepreneurs. And so when people say like, oh, well, Italy has the same things that we have, no, they do not. They have this, make it on the outside, if you make a checklist, it looks the same. But because of their mentality and their bureaucracy and just the way they think that the world works, because that's what their microcosm of the world is, being difficult and bureaucratic and whatever, because of the way it works, that they think that they're doing it the same way other people are, and they're not. And that's why they get the results that they get. And the results they get is that there are not a lot of small businesses over there. And the ones that are there are heavily supported by a big network of people. It's not like in the US where you can just pick up and go and have a business name in like a week and a business license or whatever. Like literally, like you can call on the phone. You don't even have to go in anywhere to like register a business. Okay? So are Italian people lazy when they can't get a good job that pays well for not crazy hours, and then they don't think to start their own business? No, they are not. That's what they have to deal with, and it's hard. It's way harder than what we have to deal with in the US. I don't know about other countries, but you cannot compare your life in the US or your young people in the US with their young people, okay? Because their young people it's like already hard enough to start your own business, and then you're young and you're like, don't everyone tell you you're stupid and not to do things, and then on top of that, your whole country is set up to make everything difficult. Okay? They're not lazy, and they don't just love wine and pasta more than they love success. That's not what it is, okay? First, give them a chance to do the things that we do in the US, and then see how much they like, sitting around drinking, I don't know, €2 wine every night. Okay? It's not that. It is that right now, but you don't know why. You're just assuming that they're happier and better than you. Maybe they would first like the opportunity to do what they want to do and have the resources for that than just always, every night, every day, for their whole lives, do the same type of evening. Okay? Yeah, that was my rant. It was a very personal rant for me. I think living and working in Italy is what made me, that was like the final straw. I was like, I have to start my own thing because I can't do this anymore. Like, I could not. It was hurting me. I never in my life wanted to work harder than when I was in Italy. I think maybe in Japan, but when I was in Japan, I wanted to work harder, and I did. I just, I was able to work more. But then in Italy, I wanted to work more, and I wanted to do like a side hustle or start my own thing up or whatever, like domestically, because I wanted those euros, Euros is better than dollars at that time. It was like much higher. So I wanted euros, I didn't want dollars. And I ended up resorting to getting something that paid in dollars instead of a side hustle that paid in euros. But I couldn't even get people, I couldn't market to people there. I couldn't get clients or whatever there because people didn't have money. Like everyone that I talked to from, what was the youngest? Everyone that I talked to from like 22 to like 75 was like, no, we don't have money for that. Oh, no, I don't want to pay for that. No, like, don't waste your money on that. I wouldn't waste my money on that. I remember I had a cleaning lady. This was when I was studying. And the first quarter or whatever defeated me. It was so hard. Like, I would go home and eat the same. I'd pick up pizza, €2 pizza on the way home because I didn't have the energy to cook or grocery shop or time. And I would just sit on my bed with my books, and I wouldn't even go to bed. I'd fall asleep and I'd wake up in the morning and I'd be on top of my books with all my clothes on from the day before with all the lights and windows open. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm slipping into comas. Like, this is not good. And my house was like falling apart, and I didn't want cockroaches because, Italy is a land of cockroaches. And not just Italy. It's like every place outside of California is a land of cockroaches. But I hired a cleaning lady, and the cleaning lady was just someone I saw like there's like a piece of paper stapled to whatever. And I was like, I can probably afford that. And I remember her rate was $8 an hour. And she didn't come with any cleaning supplies, and she had to take the bus to me. And I was like, my God, okay, I need you, so I'm going to buy cleaning supplies. I just moved there. I'll buy cleaning supplies. And after she'd finish, I wouldn't count. I wouldn't be like, how many hours? I'd just be like, okay, 2 hours here, just €20. Like, I'm not going to. It would just seem so little to me. Like, $8 an hour for a grown woman to wash my dishes while I studied. Like, she was basically saving my life. Like, I was so grateful for her price, and the fact that she was even there. I was so grateful that she would just come like on demand. So I was like, here, just take 20. Like, it's no big deal, whatever. Like, I wouldn't even talk about it. I would just give it to her, and then she'd just look at it and be like, oh, like, oh my God. But I'm like, no, we're not. Just take it. And I remember I told a woman who had 2 kids. So she was older than me. She had 2 kids. I told her. Oh, first of all, what happened was that my landlord sent his daughter over, and the daughter saw this lady cleaning my house while she visited. And so she told her father, who was the landlord, that, and then they both decided that I'm rich. Like, this super rich lady, and like, why would I need a cleaning lady to clean like this really small, it wasn't a studio apartment, but it was really small. It was like bathroom, balcony, bedroom that was like kind of big so it hold everything, and then a really small kitchen, but it was like separate, so it did kind of look big, but it was still small. And they were just like, oh my gosh, And the reason I found out this is because I was talking to this lady who was a little bit older than me. She had 2 kids, and she knew them, and she knew me, and she knew my apartment, and she also knew that I was afraid of cockroaches. So what she told me was like, oh yeah, they think that you are so rich, you're super rich because you have a cleaning lady. And it was funny because that landlord had a cleaning lady, but he had a big house, I guess, and his wife had passed away, so I guess he figured I need a woman to do this. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy because I'm not rich. This ladies just cost $8 an hour, and my place is so small that it only takes 2 hours or less, And I'm like, it's not even a big deal. I even give her a 20 instead of €16. And then she was like, oh my God, no, do not do that. Don't. No. Why did you do that? And I'm like, why did I do what? She's like, why did you give her more than €16? And I was like, because it's nothing compared to the relief that she gives me. And it takes more money, more energy to break change than it does to just give her to give her €20. And then she was just like, no, that's how it starts. You give them a little extra, and then they're going to want more. And then everyone's going to start asking for €20 and blah, blah. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, this is why I can't get clients. This is why I can't. That was why I couldn't figure out what business model would work for me as a side hustle, because everyone here was like penny pinching, and no one thought what they paid for was worth it. Like in Japan, I could teach private lessons, and like, yeah, it was cheap there, but they were still willing to pay. And in Italy, 0 people are willing to pay for anything because they just rather save their €4 than to. They can't think of they couldn't see that this service was so much worth the pain that I was going through. There's just 0 correlation. Like, there's 0 value in the service that she was providing. All they could see was you could just save money by doing it yourself, and if you do pay for it, try to pay the bare minimum. And I was like, that I can't have these people as clients. I can't do anything with people like this, So unless I'm going for the super rich people, I'm not going to be able to. That's what I mean, the people around me weren't super rich. I only knew 2 super rich people there, and I barely saw them. And the people around me were not going to. There's no service that I could offer them that they would have thought was worth their money, because they'd rather just save. Yeah. I don't even remember how we got there, but basically that's what life is like in Italy. So whenever you start to think that they're just humble people who live off the earth and sunshine and laughter of children and their parents, it's like that. It's more like that than it is the other thing that you see when you're there on vacation for 3 weeks. Not good, not bad. I'm just saying they do not have an abundance mindset, and their country is set up to keep them all the same level. All not poor, but middle class and ambitious. God bless all the other countries. America. No. I mean, there's other good things about that country, but in terms of that, yeah. Sorry. Not the best. Okay, I think we are at an hour and 10 minutes or so. We can probably, I'll probably wrap this up and hopefully be able to put out other type of content, a variety, a cornucopia of content, so that you're not always talking about it's not always ranting. This is a really ranty podcast, and I don't apologize for that, but I also recognize there are other things and energy and, vibes I can put out besides ranting. But it felt good. Thanks for letting me rant to you. Whew, I'm like stretched out with my head against the bed and like, I got it out. I needed to get it out. Now I can continue my day. I ran home for this. I power walked with a cut on my toe and flip-flops for this. I needed to get it out. So thank you for providing me an outlet to get this out. All right, that's enough. Okay, bye.